So I left you with this question in our last video. Do all nutrients need to be digested? And there was a hint, and the hint was, does glucose need to be digested? Now, what was the point of digestion again? Now, if you remember, digestion is to break down food, right? You want to break it down for what? So that it can be absorbed, right? Break down so that it can be absorbed. Now, does glucose need to be digested in order to be absorbed? And the answer is no, right? Remember that glucose was a simplest form of carbohydrate, right? It's just one, it was represented by just one circle. So it's already a very small and simple food molecule that can be immediately absorbed. It doesn't need to be broken down. So a related question is this. Imagine you're going for a big race. On the morning itself, you want to take a food which will give you an energy boost. So here are some sugary energy drinks which contain a large amount of glucose. And here's some bread which contains mostly starch. Both are carbohydrates, so both can give you energy. But the question is, which will give you the energy quicker? And the answer is the energy drinks, right? Now, the energy drinks will give you your energy faster because glucose can already be absorbed without being digested. Glucose does not need to be digested in order to be absorbed, right? Because it's already small and simple. But starch, which is a large and complex food molecule, it still needs to be broken down by enzymes into simpler forms like maltose and glucose in order to be absorbed. So this will give you energy, but it will take slightly longer. Alright, let's do some true and false questions before I move on to the last part of our notes. Alright, firstly, does physical digestion take place only in the mouth? True or false? The answer is false. Alright, because it also happens in your stomach. Alright, remember your churning. Alright, second question. Chemical digestion begins in the stomach. The answer is false. Chemical digestion already starts in your mouth. Remember I mentioned that in your saliva, there's an enzyme called amylase, and amylase breaks down starch to maltose. Alright, so chemical digestion already happens in your mouth. Next, chemical digestion requires enzymes. True or false? True, right? All chemical digestion requires enzymes. And finally, all nutrients need to be digested to be useful or to be absorbed. True or false? Well, the example that we just went through tells us the answer is false. Right? There are some nutrients like glucose or even amino acids, right, which can be directly absorbed by your cells without being digested. Alright, so with that, we're going to move on to the last part of our notes. And I hope that you've been filling up the notes so far. Alright, this is page 2 of your notes. I hope that you've been filling up what physical digestion is and what chemical digestion is, right? So for example, here is the mechanical breakdown of large food pieces to smaller food pieces, and the purpose of each kind. So why, and does it involve a change in substance? Hopefully you know that chemical digestion involves a change in substance, but physical digestion does not involve a change in substance. Does it involve enzymes? Chemical digestion involves enzymes, but physical digestion does not. Alright, so fill this table up. Fill up this page as well on chemical digestion of carbohydrates, of starch, of protein, and of fat. Alright, we're going to move on finally to what are enzymes. Okay, so this is the last part of our notes. We're going to learn about what are these enzymes, which, we've been I've been talking about, but you don't even know what they really are yet. So what are enzymes? So let's get back to the slides for that. Now I'd like to start off by getting you to imagine, close your eyes, that you are in McDonald's and you're buying burger and it comes with fries, which is wonderful, and then you pick your favorite sauce, whether it be chili sauce or tomato sauce. Doesn't matter. Anyway, you take your favorite sauce, you sit down, you dip it with so much sauce, and you eat it. And as you're engrossed in sinking your teeth in that wonderful potato that is fried to perfection, you drop it, and the sauce gets all over your shirt, and it is now dirty. Now what do? Give it to mom. Okay, no. You put it in the wash by yourself, hopefully, and you use washing powder. Right? So here's two different types of washing powder, both are the same brand, Persil. But do you notice the difference? Yes, I can see very clearly that it's different color. Right? But also notice that one is called bio and one is called non-bio. One is a biological powder and the other is a non-biological powder. So being very curious, of course, I went to look at what the biological powder has. And here is the ingredients of the Persil biological powder. And lo and behold, it contains a lot of substances like soap and things that I don't really know what they are. There's also perfume, but I want to highlight something for you here, and that's it contains enzymes. So what exactly are these enzymes which are found in our biological washing powder? So in this final video, we're just going to talk very quickly about what are enzymes, what type of enzymes are there, and what are some properties of enzymes. Right? You can find this in your textbook on these pages. So here is our shirt that is stained with some food, maybe the chili from the nasi lemak. And these stains, food stains, contain food molecules. So for example, it might contain some fat molecules because the nasi lemak is very oily. Now when you wash the shirt and you're cleaning off the stains, what you're basically doing is you're breaking down the fat into smaller, soluble, simpler molecules. So breaking down fat to fatty acids and glycerol. When I break it down in this way, the fatty acids and glycerol can be very easily dissolved in the water and washed off. Now question, can you wash off the fat stains without detergent? And the answer is, actually, yes, you could. Maybe you could just use a very high temperature and scrub the shirt very hard under the water without detergent. Of course, this will be very, very difficult, right? The breakdown of fat occurs very slowly or maybe not at all at room temperature. Right? If let's say you're at the room temperature, you're just rubbing the shirt together under the water at room temperature, you might not get much of the fat out. So, because it happens very slowly, we need to get something to help us. And that something is enzymes, which are found inside our biological washing powder. So enzymes actually help to speed up the rate of chemical reactions. In this case, they help to speed up the breakdown of fat. Fat can break down at room temperature, but it happens very slowly. So we need to add some enzymes to help us speed up the rate of chemical reactions. And hopefully you still remember the name of the enzyme which does this. It is called lipase. So what are enzymes? Enzymes are actually a special type of protein. Okay, enzymes themselves are proteins made out of amino acids. Okay, but enzymes are a special type of protein that speed up the rate of chemical reactions. They speed up chemical reactions. Now importantly, enzymes remain unchanged at the end of the chemical reaction. This means they can be reused. Alright, so in my previous example, right, there was a lipase, right? This lipase was acting on the fat, right? Imagine this is my fat. So this lipase comes, it acts on the fat breaks down into fatty acids and glycerol, right, this lipase can then move on to a different molecule of fat. Right, it can then move on to a different one and then move on to another one. It can be reused. Why? Because it remains unchanged at the end of the chemical reaction. Lipase breaks down the fat, changes it into fatty acids and glycerol, but it itself remains unchanged, and so it can be reused. So what type of enzymes are there? Well, there are actually many different types of enzymes, which help to speed up many different types of chemical reactions. So for example, we saw that in our biological washing powder, there was like lipase, and actually you also find amylase, you'll find protease, which help to break down the different types of food molecules which are found in our food and which may stain our clothes. Now, enzymes are also used in making apple juice, fruit juice. Right? A very special type of enzyme helps to break down the fruit and make it more easily converted into juice. And finally, enzymes are actually used in certain industries. We use enzymes to actually clean up the animal skins, which go on to be made into leather and other products. Now on Wednesday, you guys are going to be doing e-learning, and this e-learning you're going to explore about the many different uses of enzymes out there. Alright, so for your syllabus at your level, all you need to know is that there's a type of enzymes called digestive enzymes. Alright, so digestive enzymes are enzymes that act on the food molecules in our digestive system. Okay, so those are digestive enzymes. And they are named according to the type of food substance that they act on. So for example, amylase, right? We learned that amylase acts on starch. Maltase acts on maltose. Proteins, what acts on proteins? Protease. And fats, the enzyme responsible is lipase. Now you need to realize enzyme names always end with the ase, right? So that's how you can recognize an enzyme name. You might see the link between maltose, maltase, protein, protease. So why is starch not called starchase? Well, I don't know, but starch actually has a different name. Starch can be also called amylose, and maybe that's why they chose to make it amylase. And fat, why is it not called fatase? Because it sounds funny, firstly. And secondly, because fats are also called lipids, right? Lipid. So lipid becomes lipase, alright? Alright, so in your notes, you will see this part that asks you to match the shapes up. Please pause the video and just quickly do that. It's really primary school level stuff. Okay, finish up and then play the video again. Okay, so you should have matched up the shapes in this way. And what you will realize is that I'll call this a C shape, right? These are all C shapes. Each C shape could only fit one of the shapes, right? So this C shape only fits square, this C shape only fits triangle, this one only fits the circle. Alright, so each C shape is specific to one other shape. Now in the same way, enzymes are specific in their action. They're specific in action. What this means is each enzyme only acts on one type of food substance. So here's amylase, right? I represent amylase with this C shape. And here's two different types of food molecules. There's fat and there's starch. Now which one fits? Clearly, amylase can only bind to and act on starch. Only starch can fit inside amylase, and amylase acts on starch and breaks it down to maltose. On the other hand, you can see that fat cannot fit into amylase. Amylase cannot digest fat. It cannot act on fat. Fat requires a different enzyme, and that's lipase. Alright, so now for the last video, you'll see an extension. It's optional, but it's why are enzymes specific in action. Alright, so have a look there if you'd like to know more.